Every good story has a shape. You learn this if you make things long enough. There's a person who wants something. There's the thing standing in the way. There's the moment it all goes sideways. The confrontation, the dark forest. The part where you're not sure if it all works out. And then there's the turn. The climb back up. The landing. Beginning, middle, end. Tension, release. Somebody changes. That's the deal that we've all agreed to. Ever since the first guy, with good lighting, told a story around a campfire. I know this. In the world of live events, I've helped build narratives like this for over 40 years. Well, all that being said, I now find myself, reviewing footage that I captured over a year ago. Looking for that shape. The want, the obstacle, the turn. And there isn't one. It's 8 degrees outside. Coldest morning of this entire journey. I sent the drone up the second I opened the door, mostly because I appear to be the only human awake in this town, possibly the only one in it. The footage is gorgeous. There's empty hills, frost, that hard winter light, and not one frame of it adds up to a story. No villain, no turn. We just have a guy chatting to a camera, and a town that's still asleep. So I'm gonna do the thing you're not supposed to do. I'm gonna build one anyway. A story out of whatever I find, which feels about right for where I am. 32 states in, over halfway, far enough that I can see the finish line from here. Like I said at the beginning of this journey, some of these videos are going to be good, some are bad, and some were, I was going to say in between, but maybe really bad. We'll see how this one turns out. So here's what I had to go on. Nashville is an art colony. It's been around since 1907 when a painter named T.C. Steele looked at these hills and decided that they were worth staying for. 100-odd years later, artists are still here. 200 of them, give or take. And I had about 36 hours to figure out why. That was the whole assignment. Find out what these hills told people that made them stay. Now, before we get into it and I show you what I found, I have to show you something that I tried. Because back then, standing in the cold, a year and a half ago, I did have a plan. I'd put together a script. An actual script. Words on paper. The kind you're supposed to read like you just thought of them. And then I stood there, in the 8-degree weather, trying to deliver my big opening like a man who knew what he was doing. I did not know what I was doing. So let's watch this guy. Watch him fumble the pages, lose his place, hit every line like he's reading an eye chart or a hostage note. He's been at this for a year. A year and a half actually. And he's not entirely sure where to look. Good morning. Right here in the heart of Indiana lies Nashville, a place where the art isn't confined just to the galleries, but spills into the streets, the forests, and the very soul of the community. In the dead of winter, when the crowd's thin and the landscape is draped in white, the true essence of this artist's haven reveals itself. Let's go explore. All right, did that sound stupid or what? Been experimenting a little bit with using ChatGPT and some AI tools, as always, you guys know. Trying to help it put some structure to my stories. The challenge of using some of this, I don't know, use the word content, but some of this dialogue is doesn't sound like me. Check this out. That, in fact, is the real me. Squirrel. So, hey, I'm in this little town called Nashville. By the way, it's 8 degrees out. Why I'm not wearing gloves and a hat is beyond me. Oh, there's the Artist Colony Inn. I was going to stay here, actually. Cute little place. I'm just out here trying to find something to eat and record an opening, actually. Just give you a little B-roll of the surroundings here. Yeah, again, I keep flip-flopping between trying to make this, I don't know, more of a better, I guess is the short, loose word I'm looking for. I know this experience is all about, by the way, I think my fingertips are getting frostbitten. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I do these little, I'll share with you on the screen what I do. I basically tell it what I'm doing, how to, I'll be perfectly honest, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Bourdain. So I tell it in the, to think like Anthony Bourdain and put a little structure together. And upon first reading, the structure is always really cool. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I'll do exactly that. And then I get out here and I realize I'm not one that can remember lines. So I start reading off this script. It takes me like 10 minutes to get 3 sentences out. It's not me. It looks good on paper, but, and I'm sure if we had a professional actor here, it would be great. Then again, if we were doing this professionally, we would not be using AI to create scripts. We would have somebody like my friend Frank writing a script. So anyway, I'm being perfectly transparent on what I'm doing here. Every once in a while, you'll hear me do a voiceover. It's usually initially constructed with AI. I kind of tweak it to make it sound like me a little bit. Anyway, I'm essentially looking for breakfast, to be perfectly honest with you. I have a lot of layers on. It is cold. I have to put some gloves on now and a hat. And focus on fueling my body, because we're going to explore a lot of this town today. And then I'm going to go off and hit a county park and maybe a lake, if it's not frozen.
So I had breakfast like 2 hours ago. I came back to the room to warm up. I'm now de-thawed.
You know, one of the things I really like about small towns, and I think, part of the reason I decided to focus on small towns for this journey this year, this project, this ongoing journey or project called 50 at 60. Sure, they're beautiful and quaint and cute and all that kind of stuff. However, I think it's what small towns do to people. Kind of opens up people to, I don't know, be more expressive and more open to conversation. And they let their guard down a little bit. And it allows, communication to happen with strangers a lot easier than big towns, big cities. Now, of course, I'm generalizing. There's people that want to... Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous, by the way. Where am I going here? There's people that are open and great to communicate with, and they're good people in big cities, but you kind of put a guard up sometimes. At least I do. But, when you're in a big city, there's also areas like the Village, Greenwich Village, and the Upper West Side, and you get into your little community, and then, of course, everything I'm saying goes right out the window. I don't know what I'm saying, so let me just say that I'm really meeting some nice people. I went in this artist guild and had this conversation with, I don't know if she's a student or an intern, young girl we were talking about. She kind of gave me the lay of the land of what the artist guild was all about. Some beeping going on. If one of my cameras are on, I don't know what's going on here. All right, so I'm at this place on TC Steel, historical site. I'm not sure what to expect, but on my way here, I was thinking of something, and I just wanted to try to express this before I forget it. Just because I'm not producing a travel video that's like a TV show, it doesn't mean I'm not thinking that way. And I was reminded of that as I was leaving the Artist Guild and leaving town. I saw in my mind's eye me outside of the Artist Guild with my hands in my pockets, kind of, embracing the cold. Very similar to a stance of, again, Anthony Bourdain before he walked into that little Parisian breakfast place. And he looks over at the cameraman like this, kind of like, come follow me, as he walks in the door. I kind of envision me doing that with a voiceover talking about maybe my history and relatives that are involved in art, and my love for art, and my history of seeing museums all over the world, but yet wanting to see what the local artist community of a small town in America created, and not really knowing what I was about to embark on, and then immediately going in and then having an interview of one of the people that work there, set up and lit beautifully with slightly out of focus and blurry art in the background, but you could tell what location she's in. Again, it's beautifully lit. It's a great interview, 3-camera shoot, very similar to what we did in the Kahana project, link below. And, do those sorts of, information-based nodules, if you would, little bits to add interest to the travel story. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm also a realist. I mean, I'm here for 36 hours. I can't put that together on my own. I don't have a cameraman that's going to be following me around as I go like this and say, come on, let's go into this art gallery. And I don't have the time to set up the 3. It takes time to do that. One of the things I really like about the lighting industry, specifically the way I structured myself within that special events world, is every day I seem to be working in a different location, and I wasn't really kind of doing the same thing. I was doing different things. I want to expand on that even more in my life as I get older. I don't want to do the same thing. Next year maybe I'll be painting in a barn in some sort of artist community like this, or learning how to paint, or doing something totally different, not with video. I don't know. I just know that I'm enjoying right now and what I'm doing right now, and realizing that I'm going way off on a tangent. Let's go into this place, see what we can find. I just wanted to express, I guess, what I was thinking and where my head was. Sometimes maybe it's not about what you document, it's about the story you live as you're documenting. At least personally, that's what it is. All right, let's go check this place out. TC Steel. What an amazing tour. So when I got here, my options were, there was a tour that was just starting. The next one was until 3:15. And the guy that was working there, guy's name's Grant. That's who I recommended, or they recommended I say hi to when I was here. So he got permission to give me a personal tour of Grant's house, or of Steele's house and studio, and then gallery, which was like I didn't take any pictures at all in this thing. It was like a barn with these windows and all of this work from back when he was a student in Munich, and portraits that he was, paid or commissioned to create, and his landscape stuff, his impressionistic work. So many, my head's spinning with so many of these details that Grant was able to teach me on this tour or show me. Hats off to Grant, first of all. A young kid, but so full of information, a great presenter, and a great tour guide. So thank you for that. I don't know, maybe there's some way I can do a little voiceover, maybe I could find some stuff online about who this guy was.
People, I think, really want to connect to nature. There's something deep within us that speaks to that. I think Steele's paintings were part of that, in that there were these views that he was painting that were striking those mystic chords.
He charted a path for himself from a very early age and overcame tremendous obstacles. It's hard not to look at that and just be in awe of what he accomplished.
Even the simple things can be quite beautiful. He wanted to capture those subtle beauties of nature.
We're still experiencing his paintings, not only what he saw, but also how it makes us feel. And that's why his work continues to be popular to this day.
I'd spent the afternoon with T.C. Steele's paintings, close enough to see the brushwork, observing how one man spent 40 years learning to put winter light on a canvas. You don't leave a room like that and see the world the same way. So when the sun came in, low across that frozen lake, I recognized it. Those soft blue shadows laid down sideways across the ice like brush strokes. Steele would have known exactly what to do with this. It's funny what you see once you really slow down and take the time to look. The late sun was doing its best work. Warm across the sky, gold catching the edges of town. And then the way it always does, and you never quite see it coming, it started to turn. Gold to amber, amber to lavender. The cold coming back in. One by one, the lights of Nashville came on underneath it. Blue Hour, the part of the day that Steele built a career on, and the rest of us let slip by. Not because it's hard to see, but because noticing it takes time. Time that we've decided that we don't have.
And just like that, 6 hours goes by. So, let me tell you something. Something to remember when you're in this cold weather, if you're not used to it, is you got to remember to drink water. I drove around in the county park a lot, and after that tour that I had, and then I just started getting a stress headache in the back of my neck. I think it was dehydration. I'm not sure. Anyway, I stopped by and got some Advil and stretched my neck. Bottom line is I really wanted to meet with one of the owners of this place that I'm staying, this inn. Apparently they took over management. Oh, check this out, by the way. That's why I'm walking this way. They've taken over management. It used to be their parents' place. I guess her brother runs the gem mine. I wanted to get her on camera, and she was ready to, but I never made it back in time. I think I got back around 4, maybe 5 o'clock. And I know she was leaving around then, but I had a splitting headache, and I went to rest. And bottom line, never met up with her. Hopefully I will tomorrow. See how nice and quiet this town is. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about something else on my way back. I want to stop in for dinner here. I was told to check out this place called the Uncommon Place. There's nobody in here. Did I miss dinner again? Alright, so just to give you an idea of how slow this town is. By the way, see the snow? It's, I don't know what time it is, 8:30 on a Friday night. I'm walking down Main Street, and I've yet to see a soul in any restaurant eating. They're eating in the pizza place across the street. Do I want pizza? That's the question. All right, so I just had, you got no pizza left, by the way. Got a 10-inch margarita pizza. It's gone. Just wanted to say I had a really interesting conversation with a guy. Didn't catch his name. Let me get in the room here. I'll talk to you in a second. He was there with his, I guess, wife, girlfriend, not sure. And yeah, I just want to remember there because he had mentioned this place that he went with his brother in. We were talking about travel and stuff near Yellowstone, called the Watering Hole Saloon in, another pen ran out of ink, Reed Point, Montana, I believe. Anyway, he showed me some video of it. He said it's the kind of place that you go to at like 8 o'clock and then they left at like 3 or something. And he goes, it's not because we were drinking heavily, but it was just that the people, the stories, the authentic, because the cowboys, just everybody had a story. So I wanted to remember that. But then we got into the hurricane damage in North Carolina and Tennessee. They live about an hour from Gatlinburg.
Irving, I think the name of the place was, Irvine or something. And they were living in a camper at that point, and they got a knock on the door to evacuate. They were showing me video of a bridge they went over, and 5 minutes after they went over, it collapsed. He was showing me other footage pointing where they were staying, and just the river that was just like, it was within a few feet of their camper as far as the water went. But I don't know why that's relevant to my story. Just wanted to remember the conversation. What a nice guy. And she was nice too. It was a nice conversation. I don't talk to many people when I'm traveling, so I just wanted to mention that there's really good people out there. And everybody's got a story, and the timing on that was, for me, meaningful because the president was there today on his way to California, and hopefully they're going to be doing some meaningful things there. There's going to be some Army Corps of Engineers. He's lighting a fire under them to get some things done. And, we heard a lot about North Carolina, and then kind of went off the mainstream media story line. You didn't hear much about it really for the last 2 months, really. And it's, I feel for those people, I really do, because I love that part of the country. Anyway, I got a mess here. I'm gonna get my stuff together because I want to get out of here first thing in the morning. That's it. We'll see you in the morning. I love this place. It's quiet, but, well, except for the traffic that goes by. It's quiet, but this was a good time to come here. See you in the morning.